Hi everyone, I'm Chaz D. Sienna, and welcome to Excel at Accounting, where we help you to do accounting better one click and one keystroke at a time. This video is titled Look Out for Lookups. As an accountant for decades, lookups have saved me hundreds of hours, and whether you're in accounting, finance, billing, or just use Excel a lot, you should find this helpful. I'll walk you through three kinds of lookups: VLOOKUPs, HLOOKUPs, and XLOOKUps, and real examples of how I've used them in the past. Here's an example of a file I would have downloaded every month from SAP, where everything highlighted in red is from the system. Now, initially, I brought in these four key fields, but I later found that I could also add these two fields, and it made a tremendous difference. Please take a look at what's available to you and never know what fields might be able to save you a lot of time. The first formula I want to show you is getting the vendor raw data based on this purchasing number. I'm going to do a standard VLOOKUP with a single parameter equals VLOOKUP, open parentheses. I'm going to click on the lookup value, comma. I'm going to go to my vendor list, which is also from SAP. I'm going to highlight the whole thing, comma to comma FALSE, and close the parentheses. Okay, now you notice when this came over, it's got these 6 numbers and 5 blank spaces that I don't need, and I want to get rid of them. So let me show you how I handled that. I have this formula here, which just gives you a length of this in characters minus those 11 fields I don't want. And now I want to take the rightmost of those, so RIGHT. I'm going to click on this cell again, comma. I'm going to go to the end and close the parentheses. And now it brings over just the data I want. And when I double click this down, you'll see no matter what the length of this cell is, it brings just the vendor name. Very straightforward. Once I had vendor name populated, I would then want to fill in the customer name, start date, and end date based on the contract and contract line number. However, with multiple parameters, I couldn't do a standard VLOOKUP. Let me show you how I would work through that. So the first thing I would do is I would create a unique identifier called a key code, which can connect multiple cells via an ampersand. You don't have to use concatenate, you can just use ampersand, and you could use many more than 2 fields. But in this case, it now becomes a standard VLOOKUP. I can go equals VLOOKUP, open parentheses, and click up on my new lookup value, F4 3 times, comma, and now I can go to the lines tab and notice that the key code formula is the same now. I use the same formula. I highlight the entire range, and if this had been a separate file, this would automatically be locked in, but I'm going to lock it in via an F4, comma 2, comma FALSE, close the parentheses, enter. Now, once I have that, I can just copy and paste formulas this over. And I just need to change this to a 3, because there I want the third column. Change this to a 4. And by the way, these in purple, these cells up top are those formulas, all these formulas here. So I could reuse them every month. I don't like having them down here with the data. This way I can just delete everything and start anew with these new formulas. A good methodology to have. And now I can just copy this down. It works quite well. Now, another way you can do this is using an XLOOKUP. An XLOOKUP is designed for multiple parameters or multiple lookup values. So let me show you how that formula works. It's equals XLOOKUP, open parentheses, and then you click on the first lookup value. I'm going to hit F4 3 times to lock in the column. And now you connect it with an ampersand to the second cell. And I click on that 3 times, F4 to lock in the column, and then comma signals the end of the lookup values. And then you go to lines tab, and now I'd click on the entire column. I'm going to hit F4 to lock in A. I use the ampersand again. I lock in B with the F4, comma, and this time I'm going to click on just column D, but I'm not going to lock anything in. I'm going to close the parentheses, and I'm going to hit enter. And now I can copy this across and automatically shift it over with paste formulas. And now look what happens when I copy this down. Look how long this is taking. Now imagine if this were hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of rows. No, you definitely wouldn't want to use this method. So I'm going to show you a way to use XLOOKUP that's going to be a little quicker. It's still going to be equals XLOOKUP. I'm going to click on the first lookup value again. I'm going to hit F4 3 times. It's going to be the same as the previous. Ampersand. The second lookup value, hit F4 3 times. Now I'm going to hit comma. Now this time when I go to the lines tab, I'm only going to highlight the range of data that I want. And I'm going to lock that in with F4. Now ampersand again. I'm going to do the same thing with column B. I'm going to lock in the entire range, hit F4, comma, and now I'm going to highlight I'm going to lock in just the rows of column D by hitting F4 twice, and I'm going to close the parentheses. And now when I copy this over using copy paste formulas, you'll see the result. When I copy this down, you're going to see it's a lot faster. And that's because we narrowed the range quite a bit. So that's the second way you can use XLOOKUP. Again, XLOOKUP is good if you have one-offs or ad hocs, but my preference by far is to use the key code method. Especially if you're doing it every month, it really works well, and it will be faster, especially the more rows you use. The last thing I want to show you is an HLOOKUP, which is similar to VLOOKUP, except it's horizontal instead of vertical. And this is very simple. I want to match this value with one of these cells here in this range and bring in whatever data is below it. So it becomes similar to the VLOOKUP. It's going to be equals HLOOKUP, open parentheses. I have to completely lock in that cell, comma, and now I need to completely lock in the lookup range, hitting F4, comma 2 because I want the second row, comma FALSE, close the parentheses. And then I'm going to copy paste formulas this down. And I'm just going to change this to a 3. And now you can see that these numbers match these numbers here. If I change this to 9/30, for example, you'll see it now matches this. Look for opportunities where you can use this. I've used it. I like it. It may save you some time. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.